In this video, we are going to start the renal system. So, of course, the main component of renal system is kidney. So, you know that the kidney is retroperitoneal organ because it is lying outside of peritoneum on the posterior abdominal wall, near to posterior abdominal wall. So, it is lined only on its anterior surface. So, it is a retroperitoneal organ. And if you see the extension of kidney, it is from T12 to L3. If you remember the abdominal aorta extension, you can remember this too because the abdominal aorta is extending from T12 to L4, but here it is L3 level. You know, in the L3 level there is origin of superior mesenteric artery, right? So like this you can remember. Sorry, at the L3 level there is origin of inferior mesenteric artery. Okay, so you can correlate with that. So kidney is a retroperitoneal organ. Its extension is from T12 to L3. And what are the coverings of kidney? The kidney is covered by 1, 2, 3, 4. So in total 4 layers. Kidney is covered by 4 layers from inside to outside. Means first we are discussing about inner layer. So for example, let us draw a kidney like structure. Okay, so the first inside to outlet, the first layer is the renal capsule around the kidney, so which is intact with the kidney, that is a renal capsule, and this is also called as true capsule. And after that you are having some fat, that is a paranephric fat. So the second layer is paranephric fat. After that you will have a renal fascia outside. Okay, so after the renal fascia, finally you will have the paranephric fat. So remember, this is perinephric, this is paranephric. So first renal capsule, after that you have perinephric fat. Okay, after perinephric fat, renal fascia. So you can say between the renal capsule and the renal fascia you are having a perinephric fat. After the renal fascia, finally you will have paranephric fat. So paranephric fat is the outermost layer. Okay, so now let us see the divisions. Actually this renal fascia is divided into fascia gerota. This is also called as fascia gerota. Okay, renal fascia is also called as fascia gerota, and this fascia gerota is in turn divided into anterior layer and posterior layer. The anterior layer of fascia gerota is called as fascia of Told. Fascia of Told. The posterior layer of fascia gerota is called fascia of Zucker-Kandel. Zucker-Kandel. Okay, so this is about fascia gerota. This is the other name of renal fascia. So 4 layers: renal capsule, which is a true capsule, next perinephric fat, next you have renal fascia, which is also called as fascia of Gerota, and this fascia of Gerota is divided in turn into 2 layers, anterior and posterior. The anterior is called fascia of Told, the posterior is called fascia of Zucker-Kandel, and the last layer, 4th layer is paranephric fat. So this is all about our covering of kidney. So now let's see some details related to fascia gerota. Okay, so the fascia gerota encloses the kidney and also the suprarenal gland. So it is enclosing the kidney and also suprarenal gland, and it will merge with the diaphragmatic fascia. For example, here this is a kidney, this is a suprarenal gland. So whole of it is covered by the fascia gerota, and also this fascia gerota will go and merge with the diaphragm like this. This is diaphragm, this is kidney, then it will also go and merge with diaphragmatic fascia. And laterally the fascia Told and Zucker-Kandi merges with fascia transversalis. So as we said, this anterior layer, that is the fascia of Told, and the posterior layer fascia of Zucker-Kandel. This both also will go and merge laterally with the fascia transversalis. Okay, and the fascia transversalis is a fascia of abdomen, anterior abdominal wall, right? So it will go and it will stick laterally to this fascia transversalis. Next, the fascia Told will medially pass in front of kidney and merge with the fascia over the inferior vena cava and aorta. So now this anterior layer, that is a fascia Told, this will separately go on medial side in front of kidney and merge with the fascia of inferior vena cava and aorta on the back side. On the kidney back side, for example, this is kidney. So on the back side you can see this is inferior vena cava, and side you have aorta like this. So back side it will go medially and it will fuse with this inferior vena cava and aorta. whereas fascia Zucker-Kandel, which is a posterior layer, it will pass behind the kidney and merge with fascia over psoas major and quadratus lumborum muscle. So it is going behind. So this fascia gerota is anterior and posterior layer. Both layers together will go laterally and fuse with fascia transversalis, and this anterior layer alone will go and fuse with the inferior vena cava and aorta, whereas this posterior layer will go and fuse with the psoas major and quadratus lumborum muscle. So this is important points of fascia gerota. So now coming to relations of kidney. So what are the different relations? First we'll see anterior relations of right kidney, next we'll see the anterior relations of left kidney, and finally we'll see the posterior relations, which is same for both kidneys. Okay, so the anterior relation is different for the right and left kidney. The anterior relation of right kidney, if you say especially the upper part, so let us draw a diagram to understand this. So okay, so this is a right side and this is a left side. Okay, so anterior relations of right kidney, the upper part is related to the adrenal cortex, right? That is nothing but suprarenal gland, and also it is related to hepatic area, especially its anterior two-third is related to hepatic area. Why hepatic area? You can clearly understand. On the right side you will be having liver upon it, so it is related to hepatic and suprarenal or adrenal area. Now coming to at the hilum. At the hilum, it is related to second part of duodenum, because you know the second part of duodenum is present at the hilum of right. I mean the duodenum is anterior to this kidney. Right kidney is posteriorly placed to the second part of duodenum. So at the hilum it is related to it. Next coming to lower part, which is related to colic area, that is especially to right colic flexure and also the jejunum coils, because you can see in the lower part there is colic area, means colic colon, and also there is jejunum coils. Okay, so peritoneally if you see the hepatic area and jejunal area, that is the lower, this jejunal area, hepatic area, this upper area, these are covered by peritoneum, only these two areas. So that's why I am shading them. These two areas are covered by peritoneum, that is the hepatic area and the jejunal area. So this is the anterior relations of right kidney. Now let us see the anterior relations of left kidney. The upper part, it is related to gastric area, because on left side you are having stomach, so this is gastric area, and medially it is related to suprarenal gland here. So here medially it is related to suprarenal gland, and laterally it is related to splenic area, because spleen is present on the left side here. And at the hilum of left kidney, it is crossed by body of pancreas. Yeah, of course the body of pancreas will be crossing here, and lower part is related to colic area, that to left colic flexure, also called as splenic flexure, and also it is related to the jejunal area. So now in the left kidney, what are covered by peritoneum? The gastric area is covered by peritoneum, the splenic area is covered by peritoneum, and also the jejunal area is covered by peritoneum. So if you see on the left side, 3 areas are covered by peritoneum, on the right side only 2 areas. What are those? That is the hepatic area and the other, or you can say the suprarenal area and the colic area. Only these 2 are covered on right side. But on left side, 3 areas are covered by peritoneum, that is the gastric area, splenic area, jejunal area. So this thing you need to see regarding right and left kidney relations. So now coming to posterior relations of kidney. It is like very simple, because it is same for both kidneys. So the posterior relation here you can see, the posteriorly the kidney is related to, if you see the right kidney, it is at the level of 12th rib. So right kidney posteriorly, if you see I am drawing dotted line, so it is only related to 12th rib. Whereas if you see left kidney, it is related to both 11th and 12th ribs. Okay. So right kidney is only related to 12th rib. Why? Because the right kidney is somewhat lower, whereas the left kidney is placed somewhat higher, so that it is facing on both 11th and 12th rib. And posteriorly there is medial and lateral arcuate ligament. Okay, so posteriorly there are also medial and lateral arcuate ligaments. The medial arcuate ligament is mainly related to the psoas major muscle, whereas the lateral arcuate ligament is related to quadratus lumborum muscle. So there are also four muscles on the posterior side of kidney, that is a diaphragm, psoas major, quadratus lumborum, transverse abdominis. So we can remember this as a mnemonic as DPTQ. DPTQ. Okay. So these are the four muscles. Next, there are also three nerves which are in the posterior relation, like subcostal nerve. How to remember subcostal? Because here you have seen T12 vertebra like that. You can remember subcostal nerve, iliohypogastric nerve, ilioinguinal nerve. So these both are lumbar nerves. So these are also present here. Now let us see the blood supply of kidney. So mainly the renal artery supplies the blood to kidney, and its lateral branch, it is coming from the lateral branch of abdominal aorta. You know, the abdominal aorta gives lateral branches. Among one lateral branch is the renal artery. So this renal artery is divided into anterior segmental artery and the posterior segmental artery. So the anterior segmental artery is in turn divided into superior, anterior superior, anterior inferior, inferior. So what is this? You can't understand this. We'll see the diagram. So you can see the total segmental arteries are 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So anteriorly, if you see, this is supplied by superior anterior artery. Superior artery. This is supplied by inferior artery. And this area is supplied by anterior superior. This upper part is supplied by anterior superior. This one is supplied by anterior inferior. So this is how the anterior segmental artery is supplying anterior surface of kidney. On the posterior side, everything is same. This is supplied by superior artery, this is supplied by inferior artery, this is supplied by posterior segmental artery. So this is the difference in posterior side. Posterior segmental artery supplies here. Okay. And this side is supplied by anterior inferior. This one will continue on this side also. So these are the segmental arteries supply of kidney. So there is a line forming here. This is called as Brodell's line. So the Brodell's line is actually an avascular line which is situated between the anterior and posterior segmental arteries. So this is used to make an incision while removing the renal calculus. So why we use this line? Because it's avascular, means there are no blood vessels. So even if we cut by this way in the kidney, there will be no blood loss. So now let us understand what is renal angle and what is vertebrocostal angle. The renal angle is an angle between the 12th rib and erector spinae muscle. Erector spinae muscle is also called as sacrospinalis. So understand, you have ribs like this. For example, this is 12th rib. So between the 12th rib and erector spinae will be on the posterior side. So like this, there forms an angle, and this angle is called renal angle. So what is present in renal angle? Of course, kidney. Let's come into vertebrocostal. In the name itself, you can see between the vertebra and costal. Which costal? 12th rib. So between the 12th rib and on back side you have vertebra. So you can see 12th rib and vertebra. The content is lower part of pleural sac. Okay. So now let us see the arrangement of structures at hilum of kidney from anterior to posterior side. So for example, this is the kidney and here you will have the hilum. So from anterior to posterior side means first anteriorly there is a renal vein, next the renal artery, next the pelvis or ureter. So how to remember this? VAP. That is vein, artery, pelvis. So this is the arrangement from anterior to posterior side. Anterior means first you will have vein, next you will have artery, next you will have renal pelvis or you can say ureter. Okay, so VAP. Now let us discuss about the suprarenal glands. So we are completed about kidneys, everything part. Now suprarenal. Suprarenal is on two sides, right and left side. But if you see on right side, it is like somewhat triangular or pyramidal shape. But if you see on left side, it is crescentic or semilunar. So like a semi-lunar shape, it will be like a pyramidal shape. So coming to the blood supply, there are three arteries: superior suprarenal, middle suprarenal, inferior suprarenal. Okay, you need to even remember the branches from which they are coming. The superior suprarenal is coming from inferior phrenic artery. You know that the phrenic arteries are coming as the lateral branches of abdominal aorta, so they are the branch of inferior phrenic artery. The middle suprarenal is direct branch of abdominal aorta, whereas the inferior suprarenal is coming as a branch of renal artery. So of course superior suprarenal. as it is superior, it is coming from inferior. Okay, superior coming from inferior phrenic artery, middle directly coming from abdomen, inferior coming from renal artery. Okay, so coming to venous drainage, right suprarenal vein will drain directly into inferior vena cava, whereas the left suprarenal vein also will drain into IVC, but it will drain into left renal vein. It will not directly drain into inferior vena cava. Indirectly it will drain. So right one will directly drain into inferior vena cava, but the left one will drain into left renal vein. After that, it will drain into IVC. So the tributaries of left renal vein are left suprarenal, left gonadal, left inferior phrenic. So these are the three tributaries, means they will also go and drain into the left renal vein. That is left suprarenal, we already discussed now, left gonadal vein, and the left inferior phrenic vein. So now coming to the nerve supply of kidney. So kidney is supplied by renal plexus, which is a branch of celiac plexus. Okay. So finally, ureter. Ureter is divided into three parts. First part, which is coming from hilum to lower pole of kidney, that is from the pelvis of ureter. So from hilum to the lower pole, means till here only. This is the lower pole of kidney till here. So this part is called pelvis of ureter. Okay, this is pelvis part. Next, the second or abdominal part, from the lower pole of kidney to the bifurcation of common iliac artery. You know, common iliac artery will bifurcate at the level of L4. Okay, so at the level of L4, this second part, that is abdominal part of ureter, is present. So from the common iliac artery to the bladder, it is the third or pelvic part. So these are the three parts of ureter. So now coming to constrictions of ureter. Actually, ureter have anatomical constrictions and also surgical constrictions. So anatomical constrictions are three, that is at the pelvic ureteric junction. So here, pelvic ureteric junction, here you have one constriction, and the next constriction is at the brim of pelvis. So brim of pelvis is where you will cross the common iliac artery here. And the other one is vesico-uteric junction. So vesico-uteric means between the ureter and urinary bladder there is a junction, that is a vesico-uteric junction. So these are the three anatomical constrictions. Now coming to the surgical constrictions. Same, first one is pelvic ureteric junction, next same brim of pelvis, and next the one thing you need to see in the case of vesico-uteric junction is that in the case of male it will cross the vas deferens, in the case of female it will cross the broad ligament at the vesico-uteric junction. And the fifth point for the surgical constriction is at the tip of ureter. So among all these constrictions, the narrowest constriction is vesico-uteric junction. So it is the narrowest when compared with everything. Now coming to the structures crossing the ureter posteriorly. So posterior to ureter you have psoas major muscle. You have one nerve which is piercing the psoas major, that is genitofemoral nerve, and also you have the common iliac or external iliac artery. So this is also same on both right and left side. Now coming to the structures which are crossing the ureter anteriorly. So anteriorly what structures are crossing? On the right side it is different, on the left side it is different. Right side, the second part of duodenum will cross it anteriorly, and also the right colic vessels and ileocolic vessels which are coming from superior mesenteric arteries. Okay, and right gonadal vessels and root of mesentery. So one thing you need to observe, what is on the left side, they will be opposite to the right. So if you see on the left side, you have your left colic vessels. Here you have right colic, so here you have left colic. And you have ileocolic here you have sigmoidal vessels. So why? Because these both are coming from superior mesenteric artery, these both are coming from inferior mesenteric artery. Okay, and here you have the right gonadal vessels, and here you have the left gonadal vessels. The left gonadal vessels are coming directly from abdominal aorta. And on the right side you have root of mesentery, but on the left side you have sigmoid mesocolon. So this thing we need to observe. Now coming to the pelvic part of ureter. So in the pelvic part of ureter, especially in the female, if you see the boundaries of ovarian fossa. So here lies the ovary, and here the content of ovarian fossa is of course ovary. So anterior to the ovary you will have the external iliac vessels like this, and posteriorly you will be having internal iliac vessels, and also there is ureter. And laterally there is obturator, nerve and vessels which are passing. Okay, so actually in ovarian pathology, like any ovarian pathology, the pain will be referred to the medial aspect of thigh. Why? Because the obturator nerve will get irritated, and there is, obturator nerve is a nerve of medial compartment of thigh. Now finally the blood supply of ureter. So the ureter is supplied by renal artery, gonadal artery, which are the branches of abdominal aorta. There are also some other different arteries which supply ureter, like many arteries: common iliac artery, internal iliac artery, superior vesicle, uterine, middle rectal, vaginal, inferior vesicle, superior vesicle. So all these arteries, if you see the superior vesicle artery, it is a branch of anterior division of internal iliac artery. Okay, so this is all about our renal system. Next we'll start with our other chapter.